Hello and welcome to another special lockdown edition of True Blue. I'm so chuffed to be able to welcome my guest for today's show, Wales Women's most capped player, Jess Fishlock. Thank you, Jess, for agreeing to chat to me. I can't quite believe it. This is an amazing opportunity.
Hi, Cari. You are more than welcome. I thought it was very brave of you to reach out to me, and sometimes I feel that bravery like that and courage deserves some recognition. So you have all my time, and I hope that I'm a good enough guest for you.
Thank you. So, our coaches have been keeping me and my teammates challenged during lockdown with things like WhatsApp training sessions, TikTok challenges and Zoom quizzes. What's lockdown like in the USA and what have you been doing for training?
Great question. One thing I have definitely not been doing is TikToks. I think I am way too old for that. I think the lockdown in the US is quite similar to the lockdown in the UK. The US is a lot bigger, and so like each state is governed by a governor who can make their own decisions for their state. So that's where it gets tricky over here. So the state of Washington that I'm in, we have a very kind of conservative governor who is really putting our lives first, which is great. But it does mean that obviously our stay-at-home order is a lot longer. So for training, I'm a little bit different. I'm a little bit lucky because I'm still coming back from my rehab in my knee, which is classed as medical, a necessity, and essential. So I get to actually see people, which is great, and see my physio and my trainer, and still work with them to make sure my knee doesn't go backwards. So I'm a little bit more lucky than you guys. But other than that, I've been doing the same. I'm up around this time having quizzes with my family from back home in Wales, which has been fun and probably the best part of the lockdown, to be honest.
What's your usual training routine, like in the week, and what kind of food do you eat to be a professional footballer?
Great question. So my training week probably looks like 3 days or so. If we say, for example, we played on a Saturday, you would be in for recovery on the Sunday, and then off on the Monday, and then in Tuesday, Wednesday, I think, perhaps off Thursday, in Friday. Actually, under our new coach, we're in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and play Saturday, which will be interesting. But the majority of it is 4 or 5 days on, plus a game. I think the older you get, so I'm a little bit lucky, I get a little bit more rest. But that is kind of what it looks like. And then you'll have 2 gym sessions in there, maybe 3, but the third one will be really light, like a little power circuit, more so than a weight session. And what do I eat? You know, I obviously try and stick to a high protein, high vegetable, moderate carbohydrate type of diet. Protein for me is a big one, and it's the most important thing for your body. And so my number one priority is to make sure I have enough protein in my system. I have at least 1, maybe 2 protein shakes a day. And then around that, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, Cari, I still like my chocolate and, you know, my crisps. And I don't I don't stop myself from eating that. I just make sure it's at the right time. It's not the day before a game. It's probably on my recovery day. I probably have some chocolate, just to keep me sane.
I'd love to play in America when I'm older. How did you end up moving out there to play? And what was it like moving and living in a new country?
Great question, and I'm glad that you want to come out here and play. I think that's great. I really do. I know it's quite daunting thinking to leave your home country, especially when our home country is so great. But I think it's good to try and get out there and experience the world a little bit. I was the same as you when I was growing up. I always wanted to go and play in America. It was my dream. And how it worked for me was that Laura Harvey, who was manager of Arsenal at the time, came out here to take charge of the Reign. And obviously I'd played against her for Bristol. So she just gave me a call really and said, do you want to come? And I said, absolutely. I think the conversation took all of 10 minutes. And moving was tough. I'm not going to lie to you about that. The culture is different. The greatest thing in the world is that they speak English. I think going to, like, when I went to Germany, when I went to France, that was a little bit harder, and Holland, because the home language is not English, so that's difficult. But in America it is, so that's really helpful. But the culture is very different, so you still have to adjust to how the Americans work and how the Americans think. And I still don't believe that I am truly American in the way that my brain works. But I have absolutely, respect their culture and try and adjust to it as and when it's necessary, because I think that's really important. That, if you go to another country, I'm not saying you have to conform to the way that they think or what they do, but you absolutely have to respect their culture. And that's something that I try to do very early wherever I go.
I began playing for a boys' team, but the girls' game seems to be growing massively. Our West Wales Girls' League has had loads of new teams the last couple of years. But what was it like when you started? Did you play for a girls' team or did you have to play for a boys' team?
I had to play for a boys' team up until I was, I can't remember my memory now. Quite old. I did play for a women's team, Cardiff City Ladies. I played for them, and I trained with them for years before I could play. I trained with them since I was like 7, but I couldn't play for them until I was like 15, 16. So within that, I would play for a boys team, and play youth, and then play for like the Wales Centre of Excellence or wherever. We did not have a Welsh league at that point then. So there was no Welsh league when I was growing up. So that was not in place yet. So it was more about just trying to find a way to kind of play, really. But it was okay. It worked out. I did think playing with the boys helped me a lot, because they're a little bit faster, so you have to think faster. They educate you in thinking faster. So I know there's a lot of people that don't like it, but I think when you're young, I think it's very important actually to try and play mixed for as long as you can.
Did you think girls' football would be as big as it is now? And do you think it can be as big as the men's game?
Yes, in truth, in answer to your question. I think women's football is definitely growing. I think we still have a long ways to go. And we have to get the basic structure and infrastructure right to protect the girls. But I definitely believe it is growing. There is no denying that. Can it be what the men's is? I think it can, just in a different way. I think it can definitely get as big and as globally recognized. I think it'll take us a little while to get there. And I think people forget that it took the men's, like 2 decades to get to where it is right now. And we're still in the very early stages of our first decade. Unfortunately, people have a little kind of selective memory when they come to that. They don't remember the early days of the Prem when there was no money and there wasn't, that it wasn't as good as what it is now. So I think that if you think of it logically like that, then yes, if we go now in 20 years, do I think we could be a global sport that is funded right and the girls are paid the right way? I absolutely do believe in that. I do.
What's it like putting on the Welsh jersey and singing the Welsh anthem?
Oh, Cari, it is probably the best feeling in the world. I've played a lot, I've won a lot, but that feeling is the feeling that I try and keep and savor in a little kind of box, really. There's no other feeling like it. I hope one day you get to experience it because it is truly one of the best feelings in the world.
You've won the Champions League, played all over the world, played for Wales more than anyone else. But what's been your best career moment?
Oh, great question. I think my best career moment was, getting my first cap for Wales, and then getting my 100th cap for Wales. It's just an interesting kind of feeling for me. I can remember my first cap. I can remember the 100th cap. So, I get all my club achievements aside. Definitely my first cap and my 100th cap are my most memorable for sure.
Yeah. Can Wales qualify for a major tournament in the next few years, do you think?
Yes, I do. I hope. I think our very best bet is the Euros. I do. I think we had a great campaign for the World Cup before, and I think this is our big chance now going for the Euros. If we don't do that, then I think we have to do a whole new transition within the squad, and so that'll take some time. But I think right now we're in the peak of this squad, and so Euros is kind of the last chance for us right now. But I do believe that Wales can. I believe that the girls and what is being produced is more than good enough for a major tournament.
So we're going to do some quick fire questions.
Okay.
Who's the best player you've played with?
Oh, that is not a quick fire question. I've played with so many. I think my favorite, maybe not the best, but my favorite player that I've played with is Kimmy Little. She is my favorite out of everyone who I've played with, for sure.
Who's the funniest teammate?
Pino, Megan Rapinoe. She's funny. She is. Don't tell her I said that though, but she is.
Who has the best taste in music?
Me. I have great taste in music. I'm going to say me.
Who has the worst taste in music?
Oh, you know who has bad taste? Tash. Tash Harding has terrible taste in music. I'm not going to lie. She really does.
Who has the best dress sense?
Oh. And Harry James plays for Wales. She has decent dress sense. Definitely don't tell her I said that because it'll go straight to her head. But she has decent dress sense. I'll give her that.
Who has the worst dress sense?
There's this girl I play with called Lydia Williams. She's the national team goalkeeper. She has the worst dress sense I have ever seen.
Marmite, love or hate?
Oh, hate.
Finally, what advice would you give to a young girl who wants to become a professional footballer one day?
Okay, great question. I get asked this a lot. The the best advice I would give is, you're gonna have to work really hard, um, and it's gonna have to come from you. You're gonna have surrounding people, obviously your parents who are really gonna want you to succeed naturally, coaches, but the journey is a lot easier and a lot more fun when it's self-driven by yourself. And of course, you can use your parents and your teammates and your coaches as support, but they cannot want to do it for you. I think that's one thing I would say. The journey is long and it's hard, but when it's self-driven, it is so fun, because you get to enjoy it. You really do. You get to enjoy it, and you get to enjoy it with your parents, which is so special. And you get to enjoy it with your siblings or your friends, And for me, that's one message that I would say, that it really has to be self-driven. And then on top of that, I would say that, throughout your career, you're going to get coaches that like you, coaches that don't like you. And that's just going to happen. It really is. And it's important that you don't let your coaches define who you are. So if one really likes you and then one really doesn't like you, they're not going to define your career. And so don't let a coach try and tell you that they don't think you're good enough, or they don't think this. That will happen, I guarantee it, right? And that's okay almost. You just have to try and remember what you want to do, what your goal is, and keep believing in yourself. And you'll be fine. And so for me, those are the two biggest things is, you have to work hard. The journey is going to be long. You have to believe in yourself, and drive it yourself. And then on top of that, don't let one person's opinion derail your dream, because it really doesn't need to be like that. And I think if you kind of do those things, you've got a really good chance of getting wherever you want to get to. And I know that sounds pretty simple, but it's true. It really is. You have to be strong, but you'll be okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
I really appreciate it. It means so much, and it's a brilliant experience. You'll have to come to do a training session with us when you're back in Wales.
I'll do you one better. Next time we play at home, I'll get you and your team free tickets to a game.
Thank you.
Your dad has my email, so that can be easily organized. And you can come watch a game on Wales. No problem.
Thank you.
No problem.